Hello, I'm Joe Follansbee. I'm the author of a new fantasy series, The Future History of the Grail. I'd like to read to you the first 1,000 words of Book 2 in the series, titled War for the Green Land. Book 1 is Fall of the Green Land, and Book 3 is Return to the Green Land. The stories take place in a distant future on our own planet, where a dozen giant machines are keeping climate change from destroying all life. The books are loosely based on the King Arthur legends. The main character is Sir Percival, a young knight who is searching for the Lost Grail. Book 2 opens with a scene in a prison camp. I hope you enjoy this excerpt. War for the Green Land by J.G. Follansbee. Read by the author. Chapter 1. Prisoner of War. Sir Percival Rathkeel scraped morsels of oat gruel from the bottom of a bowl and fed them to a wounded man. Like miniature vultures, flies circled the putrefying wound in the man's leg. The insects had found plenty of illness and death to feed upon in the weeks since Percival watched thousands of his fellow Viridians die at the river column. The flap of the tent flew open, and a centurion in his crested helmet and red ochre fatigues barged in. "I'm looking for someone named Rathkeel." Percival stood up, his heavily muscled shoulders filling his blood-stained shirt. "That's Sir Percival to you." Fire in his eyes, the centurion held himself back. The name tape said Cantwell. He held the rank of tribune. That meant he was on the general staff. "You're wanted." By whom and why? Tribune Cantwell spoke in a thick accent. "None of your fucking business. I'm to fetch you, that's all." "Are you sending me home?" Percival doubted Cantwell understood sarcasm, even if it contained a hint of desperation. Some Viridian families had ransomed relatives. His mother might try to ransom him. Cantwell grinned. "You've got the least chance of getting out of here alive, Rathkeel." "I'd like to finish feeding these warriors." Percival gestured to the dozens of injured, some moaning, some motionless. Cantwell slapped away the bowl in Percival's hand. "You're done. Are you coming, or do you want to join them?" Breaking Cantwell's gaze, Percival told the Viridian soldier at his feet, "I'll come back and change your dressing, if this nice man lets me." Cantwell grabbed Percival by the back of the neck and pushed him through the tent opening. Percival stumbled into the mud, but he checked his urge to fight back. For all he knew, the Lucian was taking him to the execution grounds. Cantwell pointed Percival to the makeshift gate at the end of a lane between two areas of lean-tos, salvaged field tents, and milling prisoners in rags. Camp smoke drifted into the cloudy sky. Surveillance cameras on tall poles followed their movements. The captives watched Percival with a mixture of pity and fear. He recognized a few. They had left the hospital thanks in part to Percival's ministrations, and they nodded in respect. Percival found it hard to return their gratitude, for he felt more like a coward than a nurse. After all, hadn't he run from the battle like a frightened dog? Cantwell waved at the guards who opened the gate, letting the prisoner and his escort through. They walked toward the gallows, where crows tore at the faces of 3 Viridian bodies. An electric cart waited to take the corpses to the incineration pit. Percival's mouth went dry. Was he next? He could not think of any transgression. No Lucian officer or guard had warned him of anything. His racing mind flashed to the battle. Screams of dying men, women, and horses filled his ears. On the field, he met blow for blow from each opponent, once slicing open a man's belly, spilling intestines like they were macabre sausages. Percival killed 3 Lucians, including an officer. Were the Lucians about to take their revenge? He blinked in relief as Cantwell led him past the gallows to another tent. 4 legionaries guarded the pavilion, and Percival noticed the sigil of Dardarius, the Lucians' commanding general, on their breast armor. The legionaries belonged to Dardarius' personal guard. "You there in the tent," Cantwell bellowed. "I found your lackey." The Lucian pushed Percival forward. He raised the flap. Inside, the windowless walls danced with shadows. A single lamp illuminated the face of a man. Arturus, dressed in the sackcloth tunic worn by ordinary Lucian slaves, stood tall but with a slight tremble. The king's eyes glistened in the weak light. Disbelieving his own eyes, Percival fell to one knee. "Majesty." Arturus stepped forward and placed his hands on Percival's upper arms, urging the knight to rise. The monarch of Viridiae studied Percival as if he hadn't seen him for 1,000 years. He embraced Percival as he might a lost brother. "Sir Percival, I cannot tell you what a blessing from Gaia it is to see you again." "Likewise, your majesty, but—" Percival could not find the words to express his surprise and delight. With Arturus came hope. "We heard nothing. The Lucians would never answer our questions. There were rumors, but—" He couldn't finish the sentence. "I wouldn't blame you if you thought I was dead." Arturus collected himself. "For a while I thought I was dead, despite Dardarius' promises." "Promises?" Arturus gestured to a pair of chairs next to a table with bread, cheese, and wine. "I'm a hostage, surety for my country's good behavior, and a trade for Merlin." "Merlin? Why Merlin? How could he be more important than the king?" "Have they hurt you, sire?" Percival's hands warmed with anger to think that Merlin was more important than the king. "The last time I saw you, you were in chains in front of Dardarius." "No, I'm more fortunate than others." He glanced in the direction of the gallows. "Majesty, what's happening? More prisoners die every day. 10,000 surrendered. It's been 2 weeks. There's 5,000 or 6,000 now. There's no food or water, and we're living in our own shit. We can't take much more. I've been working in the hospital. We have 1 doctor, and she's overwhelmed." "I suspect Dardarius is consolidating his gains in Viridiae before taking us back to Lucana." "Us?" Worry creased Arturus' forehead, as if he was imagining the next days and weeks. "Dardarius wants to treat me according to my rank." Arturus chuckled to hide his embarrassment. "He has a certain practical honor when he isn't killing people. I asked to have an aide attend me. I asked for you." Percival startled. Of all Viridiae's soldiers, including men and women of far greater influence than he, Arturus had chosen him. Thanks for listening to the first 1,000 words of War for the Green Land, Book 2 in my fantasy series, The Future History of the Grail. See the links in the caption for more information and to purchase the books. You can listen to me read excerpts from the other 2 books in this video series as well. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and please subscribe, like, and share this video. Until next time.